Learning how to invest properly is hard enough, but add on keeping up with all the news coming out between the new government, blockchain, and so much more, it can easily overwhelm you. And that's why I'm here. Today, we'll actually be talking about 3 different topics. The first one being DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. The second being Elon Musk actually talking about putting the US Treasury on a blockchain. And number 3 is the company Ripple actually getting 3 ETFs filed just earlier today. So let's go over a little history on DOGE, right? Because there's 2 different DOGEs. There is the cryptocurrency, which started as a meme coin, and then there's actual Department of Government Efficiency, which Elon Musk named after the meme. So if we dive into it here, we can see the actual cryptocurrency was created in 2013 by Billy Marcus and Jackson Palmer as a joke, basically. And initially, it was basically just to kind of highlight the boom in crypto that was going on in the early 2010s, right? Now, around 2020, 2021 is when Elon Musk actually started promoting this cryptocurrency, and that caused him to face legal battles of his own. But what ended up happening after he promoted it is we saw an increase of about 10,000% from the starting price. Elon Musk started talking about how to incorporate Doge into his companies like Tesla and SpaceX. So over time, the name Doge kind of grew, and then it became what it is today as far as an actual government agency. So what does this agency actually do? Well, it's basically in charge of making the government run more efficiently. And the first thing that they're doing is basically going in and pulling the plugs on a whole bunch of programs that they found out is basically wasting a lot of the tax dollars. For example, here's one of them talking about putting shrimp on a treadmill. I'll let you figure out the rest for yourself. Through the Department of Government Efficiency, they've also found a lot of payments that are being siphoned through different shell companies, basically in a way to kind of like launder money from one company to another company. And this has happened on a mass scale. So a lot of the higher ups are not actually happy with the fact that they're going through this, because now we have someone like Elon Musk in charge that now has the knowledge and capability to be able to completely go through all of the resources presented to him, but then also refine them and shift things very quickly. And that's what's happening. So a lot of things are being found out. Programs are being shut down, people are being fired or replaced, and some people are happy about it, some people aren't. Put down in the comments which side you're on. Now, one of the biggest things right now about the Department of Government Efficiency is actually what Elon Musk tweeted a little bit earlier today, which was regarding the US Treasury. Now, the US Treasury is in charge of sending out, for example, tax payments and all that kind of stuff. And what they were actually saying is potentially moving it onto a blockchain. Now, if you're familiar with crypto, then you know a blockchain is basically like a ledger in the cloud where it cannot be replaced, it cannot be erased, it cannot be deleted. It's there forever, right? So what that would allow us to do is actually be able to see every single transaction that happens within the US Treasury. We get to see where our tax dollars are going. We get to see how it's being spent, etc. Now, another feature of this could be what's called smart contracts. And basically with smart contracts, you can actually send out automatic payments and pretty much create any kind of automated AI type features that would automate manual tasks. So for example, sending out payments, authorizing access, all different kind of things like that. So the pros, of course, will be that it will minimize the improper use of tax dollars. It also puts pressure on government officials to justify why they're spending the money on what they are. But this also comes at a cost. And the cost for us as taxpayers would be the privacy. If you've been with me for a while, then I kind of have a bittersweet stance when it comes to crypto. Is it cool? Is it helpful? Is it going to, advance society? Yes. But at the same time, there's a lot of things involved with it that can end up kind of being a con for us as citizens, as taxpayers. And the biggest thing is control, right? Because just the way that they would have access to the US Treasury payments, they would be able to eventually have access to every citizen's payments the same way. So the same way that it will be on a blockchain or a ledger where anyone and everyone can see exactly what the US Treasury is buying, spending their money on, using your tax dollars on, think of that same thing, but with your own personal bank accounts. Anyone and everyone could see what you're purchasing. Anyone and everyone could see where you're spending your money. And at that point, there would literally be no privacy. And if we dig a little bit deeper, this can also be a risk of censorship. So for an example, governments could misuse blockchain technology to control or restrict spending. So let's say, for an example, in China right now, they're already kind of implementing this with the social credit score. But let's say that, God forbid, we end up in a situation like we did a couple years ago and we're on lockdown. And instead of following the rules, you decide to go out even though you aren't supposed to. Would the government have the power to censor the funds you're able to access, or even where you're able to access, if that makes sense? So let's say long term, we end up getting to the point where everything is on the blockchain, whether it's the passport, the government IDs, etc. What kind of censorship, what kind of power do they have over us to kind of control that? So this is definitely a topic we need to expand on over time, and I would love to have a conversation with you guys. So please put what you think down in the comments below. But in a nutshell, this is something we definitely need to keep our eye on in the future because it affects our future. This is also why I wanted to start bringing news to this channel, and I will personally keep you guys updated as this develops. Now, the next and final thing I wanted to talk about was actually XRP ETF applications. So XRP itself is actually a cryptocurrency owned by Ripple. Okay, Ripple is the company. So what is an ETF? I want you to think about it as in a investing basket, right? So let's say instead of just investing directly into Apple, the company, or Microsoft, the company, you can use an ETF which spreads your risk out across different companies that still are leveraged in that particular company or stock. So let's say, for an example, you want to invest into XRP in your 401k or in your SEP IRA, right? You can use an ETF to do it, which is a little bit safer than investing into the actual cryptocurrency yourself. So this will give you a little bit of exposure like you want, but it's a little bit safer. Now, some people like safe, some people like a little bit more risk. It also depends where you're at in your life and career. As you get older, you may want to take less risk, while when you're younger, you may want to up the ante and, see what can be done in the next 10 to 20 years. So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve in your own financial picture. Now, personally, I think Ripple is going to be a big player into what's coming up in the future regarding the overhaul in the government and so much more. I mean, if we just think about what we were just talking about with incorporating the blockchain into the government, into how our payments are processed, etc., this goes directly in line with what Ripple has been developing way back since I think like 2011 to 2013. They've literally been working in the vein of trying to create a better payment processing system. And what I mean by this is a solution that ran better than SWIFT, right? If you try to send money right now, you have to wait 3 to 5 business days for a wire transfer from the bank. And what they are now doing is allowing payments to be processed in seconds. Not only that, but with wire transfers, a lot of times the fees are $25, $35, or even more, right? With XRP, to send money, it's literally pennies. So this means you can now send cross-border payments all around the world in seconds, but also for a fraction of the price of what the SWIFT model allowed us to do. So could Ripple and XRP actually be a key piece to making Elon Musk's dream come true as far as putting the whole government on a blockchain? Now, if you guys are familiar a little bit with Ripple, they were facing a SEC lawsuit for quite some time, and this actually dampened their price. This held them down for quite some time, and it actually had just ended, I want to say, a few months ago, and the SEC appealed it. And this is right before Gary Gensler actually resigned. This was kind of like his going away gift to the industry, right? So there's a lot of grift around this right now. People are not happy. The industry is not happy, but hopefully the SEC does end up deciding to just let the case go. They're able to move forward, and we're able to see a lot more growth and adoption in this industry. And speaking of adoption, that's exactly what ETFs help with. So if you remember, Bitcoin went through this same phase where Bitcoin ETFs were launching, Bitcoin investment funds, Bitcoin trusts, all different kinds of things like that. Now, what you want to think about is that everyone is comfortable at a different level, right? So some people are fine investing directly into Bitcoin. They understand it. They know how to make an account. They know how to transfer funds. They know how to watch their wallet address. They know how to protect their funds on a cold storage device, etc. But then there's a whole nother group, which is pretty much majority of the world, I would say 90% of the world or more, that do not understand how crypto works. They don't understand blockchain. This could be your mother, this could be your sister, this could be your grandparents, right? But their investment advisor tells them, hey, this could be a good investment for you to diversify your portfolio. So they want exposure without all the complexities, without all the technology. And an ETF is the perfect way to do so. So by having these new financial products, it actually opens the door to mass adoption a little bit quicker, which is really, really cool. But nonetheless, as we wrap up here, I have two questions for you. Would you support a transparent US Treasury on a blockchain? Why or why not? And what are your thoughts on an XRP ETF? Would you invest in one if it's approved? See you in the next video.